Well, it's also not just a Columbus asset. It's not just a national asset. It's a global asset, and I'm really proud to meet you and be here to see what you've done here. Let's talk a little bit about the fact that there's very little wild left. There's a lot of, you're a renowned conservationist. There's a lot of worldwide exotic species that are involved with your work. There's also a lot of local conservation. And tonight we're going to be speaking to families and kids that live in upstate New York, in North America. What are some local conservation issues that people should be thinking about? It's not just save the rainforest, not just save the whales out there. It is that, certainly. But what are local issues? And how does that role play?
You have a good point. If you can't take care of things locally, you can't take care of things nationally or internationally. So you really, good point. You have to start locally, which we did with the Columbus Zoo. And I'll relate back to what you're saying. We started locally, and now, believe it or not, 30 years I've been here, we support 42 projects around the world right now. So we started locally. Remember I told you the little old zoo? Now we support 42 projects around the world with $1.5 million every year. Very critical projects. So we started locally, though, and it is very important that you have to start locally. For example, tomorrow morning on Fox TV, National Fox, I could do it at 8:30 in the morning. I have to go downtown and do a satellite about the animals coming into New York State, the bears, for example, trying to find homes, coyotes, which are in New York State now. These are all animals that you folks now have. And they were asking me, that's what I was doing the pre-interview just now. Jack, what's causing all these animals to come into our neighborhoods now, where people are scared? If you saw California last week has the bears coming in there, the cougars. And what's happening is these animals have only so much habitat. So what they're doing is they're adapting to our environment. These animals are adapting, the coyotes are adapting so well because in your backyard you might feed your dog or cat, or you might have a bird feeder, or you might grow a certain type of grass. That's what these animals eat. Even coyotes eat this. So you put that food up. You might have a dog or cat outside. If a coyote's in your yard, you might just take your dog or cat. Now, I'm not saying that every coyote is going to kill your dog or cat. I'm just saying that locally in your area, animals are adapting to our environment because we've taken away their environment. See, and I'm not an anti-developer, okay? I'm just saying that the world is changing now, and we now have, instead of fields and forests and farms, we now have a lot of subdivisions, as you know, a lot of cities. And so as a result of that, now we have to obviously our wildlife has to adapt to that.
One of the issues that we face in the Great Lakes, obviously, is invasive species, plants and animals. We have a lot of problems with new species that are coming in. What does that mean? And, I mean, do we adapt to that? Do we try to eliminate invasive species? What are the approaches?
Well, 30 years ago, really no one understood about it. I mean, the invasive species were just like, for example, you're talking about the, what are those clams or mollusks that got in some of the Great Lakes?
Zebra,
exactly. There's a perfect example of what can happen. Those animals just took over the Great Lakes because they are an animal. But now the government, the wildlife officials are very much in tune, especially where I live in Montana part-time. You know, you're not allowed to even bring in some boats unless they're sprayed off, or the tires on the boats might bring in a certain type of, what you're just saying, a mussel, or a type of worm, who knows what it could be. And so we're much more aware now of bringing these invasive species in. I'm not as, some people in certain parts of the country, especially in Florida, don't like the Australian pines because it's not native. I don't go that far. I don't want to get into that, but sometimes I think invasive species can be carried too far, because really, what's invasive? I mean, what was here 500 years ago? See, I mean, where do you stop the invasiveness? Today, yes, when you have invasive species like certain plants that are going to cause harm or death to people or animals, or the same thing with like a lot of the trout out in Montana, when you have invasive species of trout going to upper lakes where they never were before. See, that's dangerous stuff, because then you are changing things on Earth.